Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cigars and Everything Else podcast. We're in episode 96. 96, y'all.
96.
My name's Jared. Got Denzel with me, and we're gonna get into some cigar talk and a little bit of everything else. But in the meantime, I suppose it's time that we figure out what legend wore number 96.
All right, so 96 was a tough one. It was a tough one.
Did we get a legend, or we just got it?
I didn't find anybody I like. I didn't find
Okay.
anybody I like. So I'm not even gonna acknowledge any Jags. Just a guy.
Okay.
I'm gonna give a shout out to the year 1996.
Hey, there you go.
So episode 96, we're gonna dedicate it to 1996.
Yeah.
One of my favorite years of all time, whether it's music, sports, all this, it was just a vibe for me. 7th grade. You know what I'm saying? Not to age myself, but 7th grade was a good year. You know, I was a player.
What was in your boombox in 96?
What was in my boombox in 96? With my boombox on my Walkman. You know what I'm saying? In my Sony or my car's headphones, you know, the little phone ones with the wire that go.
That's right. What was you playing in 96?
All right, so I was smooth with it. So I had some 112 in there.
Yeah.
That first album. I had some Keith Sweat.
Yeah.
I had some R. Kelly. What was the album? It was the Download album. That one.
Yeah.
I had some Outkast. I had some Lost Boys.
And Outkast.
Renee.
Yeah, Lost Boys. That Renee was bumping in that, around that time.
I had the Space Jam soundtrack.
That was the Space Jam you wanted? That's Space Jam, you're right.
Yeah,
it was Space Jam.
Space Jam soundtrack. I think Nutty Professor soundtrack too, if I'm not mistaken.
That sound around that same time frame.
Case, Touch Me, Tease Me, all of that.
Touch Me, Tease Me. And you said Keith Sweat. That was Twisted, right? Or was that 95?
Mm-hmm. No, that was Twisted. Nobody.
Hey, Uncle L had some records too, didn't he? Won't that Hey Lover around that time?
Yeah. All of that.
Yeah. Lounge and all that. Lounge might have been 97. I don't know. Somewhere in there though.
I think Lounge might have been before.
Was it before? 95?
Ooh, hold on. Was Aaliyah 1 in a Million? Was that 96?
That was 96.
Hey, that one in the cassette tape, in the boombox, in the Walkman. But 1996 was a good year for music. It was a good vibe for sports.
Year,
Bulls.
All Eyes on Me. Let's not forget that, man.
Ooh, All Eyes on Me. Yeah. Double disc.
The double. Yeah. Good year, man. Great year. 96 was a good year, man.
96. Atlanta held the Olympics.
The Olympics in 96 was out in Atlanta. Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? What do we have? We had the Bulls beat the Supersonics. That was a good matchup. Enjoyed that. Was that 96? Was it 97?
That was 96. It was 96. 96? It was 96. Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if we can say that that was good. That wasn't good for the 96.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that match.
I don't know how much I enjoyed it, man, because I didn't feel like the Sonics was in it like I wanted a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, I would have been cheering for the green during them years, man. So you know,
me too, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Even though it didn't come out the way I wanted to, the way I was rooting for. You know, it was fun. It was fun.
It was fun.
Yankees started a dynasty that year. Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees. We ain't gonna spend too much time on it, but yeah, it happened.
Hey, Green Bay win the Super Bowl.
I think you're right, bro. I think Packers did get one that year.
Well, yeah, but 96 was a good year. So I want to shout out to the year 1996. I'm
with it.
Fond memories of that particular time in my life as a youngster.
There you go, man. 1996. This episode is dedicated to you. We miss you. You know. With that being said, we got to figure out what cigars we're gonna honor this week also. So I think you got yours figured out. I don't have mine figured out, and I kind of want to see how to play it, but I'll let you go first.
Okay. All right. So let me go first. And then while I'm going through, maybe you'll figure out where you're going to go. So, hey, look, I've been looking for this one. This is EP Carillo Black, that beautiful dark rapper. I seen it advertised. I'm scrolling through my YouTube, not my YouTube, but Instagram feed, my IG feed, and it came across my IG feed. Shout out to my algorithm. Love my algorithm. My algorithm is set up right now. I'm getting some beautiful things on my algorithm, and this is one of those things that came across my algorithm. What's this? EP Carillo, this Perez, Black Encore.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. Happened to walk into the humidor, and they said, "Oh look, Carillo's we having a sale." And I'm looking around like, I've smoked that one. I smoked the Pledge. I smoked the Allegiance. I smoked that one. And then I come around the corner, as I'm about to be like, you know what? It's cool. It's cool. I've had enough of them. And walk to the other side to go look for something else. I come around that corner and I see this Black, and I was like, I gotta have it. Gotta have it. So beautiful dark wrapper. Smells amazing. It's a beautiful looking stick. The band looks beautiful. Smells great. And I'm ready to get to it. So to give you a little rundown of it. Wrapper is Connecticut broadleaf Maduro, binder Mexican San Andreas, filler Condega, Esteli, Jalapa. Am I saying that right? Jalapa.
You gotta ask the homies, man. Oh no. I've been messing up all kind of Spanish names and popular stuff that we enjoy, man.
Yeah. So that's what I think we have. It's a nice one. I'm looking forward to cutting this one up and lighting it. Hey, but real quick before you go, shout out to Camacho. I grabbed a Camacho while I was there. And Camacho has a hold on me right now. I ain't gonna lie. I got that feeling when I saw Camacho. Like, have you ever, whenever you see a cigar that you weren't thinking about at the moment, but you see it, ooh, I gotta have it. You get a little salivation, like, ooh, I remember when I had that stick. I gotta go grab either it or his cousin or something like that, right? So I grabbed the Camacho. Where am I? Here we go. So I grabbed the Camacho. So remember, I had the Maduro, and it smoked beautifully. I loved it. So now I got this one, and this might be my next venture. This is the Corojo Camacho, and I'm hoping it smokes just as beautifully as the last one. Because, like I said, it grabbed me, and Camacho was one of those ones that did not have me at all. I see it.
Sure about.
Yeah, give it a nod, and I keep it moving. But it actually grabbed my attention. It's like, I remember that last experience I had. I might want to go back, you know what I'm saying, spin the block on it.
Right. That's dope, man.
Yeah, so
all right. I look forward to hearing that. Hopefully you save it for the show. But if you get it throughout the week, I'm interested to see how they go out. But with that being said, I need your advice, man.
Okay.
Is EP worth doing an episode on? Either yes or no, and that's my decision.
I'm gonna say yeah. We both been fond of EP, and I think EP is at that cusp of being more herald, I guess, from us or not. It's like, okay, should we give it the recognition that we think it might deserve, or should be somebody that we dismiss, or not necessarily dismiss, but just put them back in the pool with everybody else? I think EP is like they're riding that fine line of just crossing over for us because we like it.
Yeah. I agree with that.
But hold on, well, who do you have? What do you got?
Hey man, I got. Once I announce it, it's going. You know what I'm saying? So EP about to be. EP Carillo is going to have the honor of having the episode that represents the year 1996. So I expect great things from you, EP Carillo. With that being said, I got the EP Carillo short run. And, it's from 2023, last year. And it's supposed to, kind of be one of those sticks that maybe could compete with those in that short stick realm. You know what I'm saying? It's not the smallest stick, but at the same time, the gauge ain't the biggest either. The ring size ain't that big. So, it very well could end up being something that you want to smoke during that short stick when you get that vibe. You know what I'm saying? Where you need something with limited time. So that's what interested me about this one. I said, you know what? Okay. I have not had a good short stick in a while, and I don't want short story to be just my go-to through and through. So, it's like, all right, let's check it out.
Short story or nub. Those are the two go-tos right there.
Or nub, yes, nub. All right, with that being said, this EP Carillo is what's my specs on it? We got an Ecuador Habano wrapper. We got origin Honduras, Nicaraguan binder. Filler is Honduran and Nicaraguan. Mm-hmm. So that's what we got.
Okay. Nice little mix. Nothing too outrageous being thrown at you.
Nah, not too crazy, man. A lot of the usuals. Hey, with that being said, man, you going straight or you going V? Or
V
punch?
V cut.
I got my V on me. I'm gonna go V with you. I'm gonna join you.
And unfortunately, I don't have any cedar sticks. I thought I had some cedar out here, but I don't. So we are going to torch it, but we are going to be gentle with our torch.
Are we?
Yeah. We're gonna be gentle. I don't want to scorch this thing. It's a beautiful black baby, so you know what I mean. We gotta treat it kindly.
You gotta treat it good. Treat that beautiful black baby good. All right, I'm treating mine terribly right now with my V cut, but what's done is done. We'll keep it pushing.
Man, that first puff, that smoke in the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice toast, like an almond toast.
Man, I'm embarrassed. My V cut is dull, and I had obviously I didn't know that.
You didn't have to double back, did you?
Man, I doubled back and I just ruined it. But I can make it work, but it's ugly. That's some ugly work.
I've done that before. Where my V cut wasn't as effective as it should have been, and had to go back and re-clip it with the V cut. That's a scary place to be, man. Scary place to be.
That reclip don't work, bro. The reclip is not the move. Don't do that, guys. You know, if y'all, hey man, if you ain't as experienced, don't do that.
Hey, look, I'm on the brink of a bad burn already. I can see it. So go ahead and fix this real quick before my burn get bad. I'm notorious.
Yeah, do that. EP.
Hey, look, man.
Off a rough start, but it's our fault though. It ain't your fault.
What Placencia has taught me is to enjoy that first burn of the cigar. Not just that puff, but that first burn, that atmosphere, like that setting of the vibe once that smoke just gets into the atmosphere. And this is a stick so far that's kind of not necessarily rivals it, but it puts you in the appreciation of that smoke hitting your atmosphere. Like I'm getting that toast almond smell. Yeah, not necessarily in the same place that Placencia does, because that's just that's a whole nother thing right there. But as far as like it's just doing something and doing something very well and very pleasant, I'm enjoying that. So shout out to EP for this. That's nice. So hey man, usually when it comes to boxing, I rely on you to let me know what's going on in the world of sports and the world of boxing. Right. I feel like you failed me. Because last weekend I didn't know Wilder had a fight, and then I see something. I'm like, oh, he got knocked out. Like, wait, hold on. I didn't hear anything about this. I didn't know about the fight. I know the fight was what was last weekend, and I didn't know the outcome. But then I found out the outcome, and I'm like, hold on, Wilder, what happened? What happened?
Bro, I failed you intentionally.
You felt it coming.
I failed to notify you because I didn't want you to watch it because I was afraid of what was going to happen. And then when it happened, I didn't want you to see it. I'm like, man, I ain't going to.
You told me nothing. Because
I knew you knew. I moved on like it didn't even happen.
we never talked about it. This is our first time ever even mentioning it to each other. Yeah. We talk all through the week. We talk pretty much every day. With a small conversation, we have a long conversation. And we never mentioned the Wilder fight.
No, his first conversation about it. Yeah.
First conversation.
Yeah. Hey man. I think think his trilogy with Tyson Fury took something out of both of them. I don't think neither one of them the same guy. You see Fury getting knocked down by MMA fighters. Then he come out and get knocked all over the place by a guy who's 6'1", you know, a cruiserweight that moved up, knocking him all over the ring. And he looked bad, man. I mean, he looked good throughout the fighting moments, but you see that chin get rocked and you see it ain't made of what it used to be made of. That stuff that's set up like The Undertaker, he ain't got that in him no more. Like,
his chin made of glass right now.
Yeah, and it's the same thing for Wilder, man. Like, I think Wilder's a little gun shy now. I saw it in his last fight, but he had been out the ring for so long. I chalked it up to that, but there was a part of me that knew this is very dangerous. You getting in the ring with this guy to be knocking everybody out. He's 270, 80 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like,
straight knockout power.
Yeah, and known for doing it. And he's more skilled than you already. It just, I didn't know what to expect. And
but you know
what I feared could happen.
I see it in his eyes, man. Like, I see he's. I went back and I looked at all the post-fight stuff, you know, the hype up to it, leading up to it, and I see his mouth moving, and I hear words coming out of his mouth, but to me, honestly, in his demeanor and his eyes, I don't think he believed what he was saying. Like, it just doesn't seem like he was there, really believing what he's saying. Even though he's talking trash and he said, "I can't wait to fight," and this and this and that, I don't think he's there. I don't think he's there. I think it's okay. I got to get through the fight, to get through the emotions, and I got to say this. But to me, when I'm looking in his eyes while he's talking, it don't seem like he's behind what he's saying.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a combination of some of the confidence has probably been broken. Some, I don't think it's entirely confidence, but some of it has, because he's been knocked out in the amateurs, so he's dealt with being knocked out before, not on the big stage. But I think he realized that's part of the game. But even then, it's still mental. Boxing is fighting is mental. All sports are mental.
I was going to say that. Like fighting and getting hit. Once you know that you can be hurt, it takes something from you. It does humble you. Like, you still try to maintain that fire in that fight, but then you also know that you know what it feels like, and that feeling don't feel good. You get clocked one good time. And then once you know that you've been, you know,
once you realize you're human again,
it brings you down. It brings you down. It lets you know that, hey, it can happen again. I can feel that sting again.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So in the back of your mind, it's always there, no matter how much of the facade you try to put up or the front that you try to put on in the moment and try to build yourself up to go again. It's always in the back. That's why Ronda Rousey was never the same. That's why most of your fighters that you see fight, Tyson, Roy Jones, once they get rocked, it's never the same. Never the same. There's a few who's come back. I mean, like, you can come back and you can always get to it. That mental fortitude for some are different than others to be able to bounce back.
Like Ali or even a Manny Pacquiao or somebody more recently. You know, he knocked out, kept fighting at a high level and had success.
Pacquiao got knocked out cold too and came back. Came back. But it's always there. It's always in the back of your mind. But
I'll say this. I couple that along with the fact that he's 38 also, and he's not active anymore in the ring. He's fighting once every 2 years. So you pair those two together along with the mental thing, and I think he realized he's still dangerous. He still got that right hand, but at the same time, all these other factors.
I tell you this, when you're 38, 39, pushing 40, whatever, the way you think about things and your danger meter goes up. You don't like to feel pain. Hey, look, I got to get off this step.
Especially when you're a multimillionaire like he is.
Yeah, you get more into, like,
you reach the pinnacle. You're 38, like, you know what I'm saying? I really ain't got to be doing this, but I kind of want to prove to myself I still can, but I don't need to. You walk that line fighting those two sides of you, and sometimes I ain't got to do this can win. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
So, and he don't got to do it, and you know, hopefully he makes a decision on it moving forward. Because I don't know if he has.
I think he should go ahead and retire. Just call it. Like that urge to fight can still be in you, and if you want to fight, you can go do it like how Mayweather does it. Do exhibitions. You know what I'm saying? Come back and just get into it for the sport of it. Just to get your, you know what I'm saying, keep your legs under you, keep your skills sharp, just to do it because you love it. But not to compete on a professional level anymore. I think you're done.
Yeah. I'll say this. Shout out to Deontay Wilder, because he's one of the greatest overachievers in the history of boxing. Because ultimately, he's not the most skilled guy. You know what I'm saying? We can all acknowledge that.
He didn't come up the traditional way.
He didn't come up the traditional way. He found it by accident to try to help his family or help his daughter. And he had the intention of just being a journeyman or sparring with people to make some extra money to pay for his daughter's health issues, and ended up becoming world champion, defending the belt 10 times, breaking records and all this other stuff. And a lot would say he did all that with just the right hand. So shout out to him. If I would say this, maybe not generationally skilled fighter, but is he a generational talent for his era? Would you consider that? Talent, not being skilled. Talent, just what God gave you right out the womb. Like, I got this, and you got, and nobody else was given what I was given.
Yeah, I would say yes.
That right hand might be once in a generation. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Because in order to come from not that traditional route, and then to have it, and to be able to have it and use it and sharpen it, you have to discover that you have it. In order for you to have it, to use it at that high level, not just use it on the amateur level and you did your thing in the backyard, or, you know what I'm saying, you got some Kimbo slicing, you was doing some backyard barbecue fights, you know what I'm saying? Now you did it on a professional level, at the highest level, and you were sharp enough to get it done using your God-given ability to win multiple times and become a champion consistently.
With one weapon that everybody knew he had, knew that was the one weapon, and they just couldn't stop it.
To me, that's generational. You know, I mean, a lot of times we think about generational talent just being your physical ability, but I think it's deeper than that. I think it's deeper than just
what makes a generational talent. Break it down.
So generational talent, and this is going to go back to a video that you sent me that kind of posed this question, right? As far as like Steph Curry and whether he's generational or not, based on what Gilbert Arenas and on his podcast and what he said, pretty much. Right. Yeah, and he goes through this longer explanation. You can get into it deeper if you want to go there, but it talks about, you know, Steph Curry not necessarily being generational because what he was born with. Physically, you know,
and he added Kobe to that too.
Was that again? He added
Kobe in that too. Yeah, he did.
But I feel like
Kobe and Steph all the same.
So, and he's saying like your achievements isn't what make you generational. I feel like it is. Unless you were given the platform and you achieve things, given it, right? You were given the platform and you say, okay, it's served to you on a platter and you win. But anytime that you know what I'm saying, lace up your bootstraps, pick up your tools, grab your tool bag, and you go to work, and you can build your way to the ultimate level, and you can win consistently, and you can set records and break records, but you didn't do it as it was handed to you on a platter, that's still generational to me. Because you have something else, just because it's not in a physical form, whether you're a physical mammoth and you're this specimen that's just, you were born with a 7-foot body weighing 300 pounds that can be mobile. What's up here and what's in here? Not everybody has that. Not everybody has that in their chest to be able to go and get it done. Not everybody's born with that. So that's something that is generational to me because you're born with that. For Steph Curry to go out and set records and overclimb the obstacles that he had to climb, even though he come from an NBA family, you know, his family already NBA. So can you say he served on the platter a little bit? Maybe so, a little bit. But he still had to go work. He still had to pick up his tool bag. He still had to lace up his boots. And he still had to go climb that ladder. Yeah. And he got it done at an ultimately high level. Not just enough to get into the league and have a good 10-year career, you know what I'm saying, coming off the bench every now and then, putting up 10, 12 points, 4 assists, getting 15 minutes a game. No, being a superstar and breaking all the records possible and by leaps and bounds. But he did it because he had what's up here, not not everybody's born with, and what he got in his chest that not everybody's born with. So that's, to me, that's generational. That's still a thing of maybe genetic or maybe a God-given thing, because not everybody's a leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you say it's because Martin Luther King wasn't, or Malcolm X wasn't the stature of a human. What they were given was a certain God-given talent or ability to reach people, to do things, to move, and to have a heart to stand for something. That's generational. So not just looking at it as a physical, saying you're Shaq and you're 7'2" and you're 300 pounds and you can move, that you're generational. Nah,
Yeah,
it's internal too. That's physical. Like it's in you to be able to use your mind to be able to overcome and accomplish.
so for me, I agree with what you're saying, and I just differentiate what you would call it. So, and what you're describing to me is a generational athlete. You know what I mean? A generational
Mhm.
athlete. But I do differentiate when it comes to that word talent. If we're going to say talent, then we're just talking about what you were born with. You know what I'm saying? Like, not what you crafted. What you crafted is your skill, and when we combine your skill and your talent together, then we get the athlete himself and what he is,
Yeah,
everything that he is. But if we just talking about the talent that a person has, Steph might not be generationally talented, you know what I mean? But he's generationally
yeah,
skilled. You know what I'm saying? Like, as
yeah.
far as that, because Kobe wasn't a generational talent as far as what he was came out the womb with, but he was a generational athlete, once in a generation type of athlete that you will get because of
I
his
still
mind, his heart, all these factors that you described. You combine those, that's what makes him special. The combination, not an attribute, or you know what I mean? Like, because to Gilbert's point, Gilbert was making the point that yes, what makes Steph special is that he had to pass all these he had to get all these accolades. He had to pass all these records in order to be considered this. When a lot of these other guys, like a Mike Tyson, they were already calling him a generational talent at 20. They were calling Michael Jordan from early on. He was a specimen in college. You know, you knew he was about to be special. Or a Shaq. He's 7'1" and he was just once in a lifetime athlete. You knew it from early on. So that was his point. They have these attributes that you say, I can't be what they are. But you look at Steph and you say, I can
but
be
you
that
still
if I
can't,
work hard. I looked
but
at
you
Mike
still
as a kid and said, I can't be that. That's part of why I didn't ever want to be like Mike. I can't be that, but I'm gonna go play like Allen Iverson because I
see,
can do that. So I knew what he meant by that.
that's the trick. To me, that's the trick. To say that, okay, you can be Steph Curry. Not everybody can be Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I can't be Steph Curry, right? And I'm somebody who feels like with the same amount of mental fortitude and heart that I talked about, like that Curry had to have, I still have that, but I can only apply it in certain areas. I can't apply it to basketball. It's not going to translate in basketball. It's going to translate to me being a soldier. You know what I'm saying? But so, are you going to say that Steph Curry's not athletic, or that Kobe Bryant's not that? Kobe Bryant can jump out the gym. That's athleticism. I can't. I'll never be able to jump like Kobe Bryant could. I still got the heart. I got Mamba mentality or whatever you want to call it, but I can't
Yeah.
jump like Kobe Bryant. I can't.
Kobe couldn't
I
jump out the
can't jump with the
gym
ball
though.
like Steph Curry.
Kobe was
I could
above
never.
average jumper, but not out the gym jumper. Like,
Kobe, when Kobe was 18, 19, 20, Kobe could jump out the gym.
but his vertical was like a 36 or something. You know what I'm saying? Above average
Above
NBA
average.
like 28. He's above average, but 40 and up is when you start talking about the people that's special, like special
Okay,
jumpers.
so he ain't, his head's not above the rim, but he can
That's what
still
I'm
get it.
saying. So Kobe was gifted. He was good at a lot of things, but not necessarily great. Not huge hands, not extra long arms, not extra jumping ability. He wasn't Mike. As far as Mike was very gifted, these big giant hands, and still to this day, the highest vertical in NBA history. Mike was gifted. He was way beyond the average person. Now, he might not have been a big body, and he had to use a lot of skill to still become what we call the greatest. It took him combining that with his skill, but he had
Yeah.
gifts.
So like
Like me, I'm somebody that's good at everything, not really great at nothing. So I understand what he means by that, to be one of those people. Mm-hmm. Yes, I got an advantage because I'm kind of good. I can kind of do anything if you give me a moment with it. But at the same time, I just wasn't born with this ginormous amount of talent in one particular area where I could just translate it and focus on it. And I think that's what Steph and Kobe, yes, they were above average, but they weren't Shaq, they weren't Mike, they weren't Vince Carter, they weren't these people.
To me, I still feel like that's still generational, because no matter how hard I work, I could never work to achieve what Steph Curry achieved. I could never work to be as proficient as Steph Curry is, as proficient he was. No matter how much I try to work on my footwork, I would never have the footwork that Kobe Bryant had. That's still, just because it doesn't look like Blake Griffin jumping out the gym, just because it doesn't look like Kyrie Irving, how he handles the ball for Kobe Bryant. Steph Curry's close. I still feel like that's still a skill and a talent that's not everybody still can do. Not everybody's still gifted in that way, to be able to take whatever skills that you have and hone it in a way, no matter how hard you work. So to me, to say I'm not generational, or to be not generational, that says whatever skill set I have, that everybody or majority of people can do it if they try hard enough. If they put in the same amount of hours or more, that they can do what I'm doing. And there's the majority, 95% of people who, no matter how hard they work, they will never be able to do what Steph Curry has done. That, to me, that's still generational, just because it doesn't look like Shaq. You got somebody like Darius, what was his name? Darius Miles.
Yeah.
Who was supposed to have been super ultra talented and generational when he was coming up. He had those talks. But now if you ask somebody and say, was Darius Miles generational? No. But he had the same talks that LeBron had. He had the same kind of hype. Not the same kind of hype. I'm putting a little bit more on it. He had hype.
Yeah.
He had hype. Darius Miles had hype. If you know who Darius Miles is, talking about the Clippers, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
They got a podcast. I'm sure the young folks listen to it, or whoever listen to us. Yeah.
Got a podcast?
Yeah, him and Quentin Richardson got one together.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Oh, the old Clippers.
Yeah.
Hey, I did like that Clippers squad though. Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles. Who was that?
That was a fun team.
Before Lob City. That was the fun Clippers before.
They had a point guard too. That was fun. They
had a few pieces over there.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Sam Cassell went over there and played with him for a while too.
Yeah, he did play for a little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me ask you this. Then. Is it you saying, okay, with the generational talent thing, Mike Tyson, for instance, we crowned him a generational talent. But if you look back at his career, we later on learned that he could be beat by some guys who, he probably shouldn't have lost to. Yeah. The losses never took away from him being a generational talent. Like a Roy Jones, the losses never took away from it, because they were that in advance, and we already knew they were that, and all they needed to do was just prove it. After they proved it, the rest of it, we can wash it off their resume. Let's say if Steph won one ring instead of the 4, would he still be a generational talent? Because I think if Mike won one, he would still be a generational talent. If Shaq won one, he still would have been this dominant player, like, in our eyes.
So here's where Gilbert Arenas has holes in his theory, just like what you asked. He said a genius, and it's because they're not a billionaire or whatever, they haven't invented something, they haven't become great, and they're working at a fast food restaurant, but they're still a genius. They're still generational, right? So generational intelligence. They're genius. Yes. So Steph Curry, he just had to go out and prove and show the fact that, hey, I am generational. I do have this thing in me that not everybody has. So let me go and show it. I still have to show it. So whether it translates to wins or it translates to success or not, you have to show it. Now, some people can go win, like Robert Horry. Would you say he's generational? No, but he has rings, right? John Sally, is he generational? No, but he has rings. So just because somebody doesn't have the accolades doesn't take away from whether they're generational or not. Just like Gilbert Arenas said about the geniuses. They might not have the accolades to show that they're geniuses, but they're still a genius by standard, by testing or whatever it is. But Steph Curry is still that, but he still had, in order for people to see it, he had to go and prove it. Now, some people you can see that, oh wow, they have a talent that's like none other, but then they have to have that success to back them to support the claim of, hey, they're generational. They have a certain talent level that nobody else has because they have these accolades to go along with it. Now, some people can do that with or without the accolades, that you can just see it and recognize it. And there's some people who have to go and show and prove it. And that could be anybody in life that people doubt and say, well, you're not this, you're not that, you're not as great as you think you are. Well, okay, well, let me go prove it. Now I got to go show you. And I think that's what Steph Curry did. He said, well, okay, you're saying I'm not that great when he was at Davidson College. Let me go show you how great I am. He makes it to the league. Okay, you're still doubting me. Let me show you how great I am. Now let me work to show you how great, just to prove I am generational. So I think that's what Steph Curry did and had to do, just to show you. Now you're going to doubt him if he doesn't have that coming along with him.
Yeah, I think without the rings, yeah, you do doubt him. If he don't break Reggie Miller's record, you doubt him. He needed every single piece of the puzzle for people to believe he was generational.
Absolutely.
Without it,
so
he'd have been Reggie Miller.
Yeah, he would have been just a Reggie Miller. Exactly.
Yeah, but or like Gilbert said, he would have been Trae Young or Damian Lillard without it.
Yeah,
he'd have been those guys.
They were right about that. He went and he drew the line in the sand and said, nope, I'm on this side of what y'all are calling generational. To me, from my mind's eye, I think by him,
Damian Lillard go get a chip, he can go be generational too.
Not if he just gets one chip. He has to.
Dame, my guy, but I don't think so.
But say he goes in the next 5 years, he starts a dynasty with the Bucks.
Win two. They say they win two.
Or he wins two, but he does it in a fashion that's unlike any other. That's what Steph Curry's done. He's not Dame. Dame Lillard is not on Steph Curry's level. As clutch as Dame is, as nice as Dame is, as much as we like Dame, he hasn't done it in the fashion. He hasn't done anything in the fashion that Steph Curry's done. Steph Curry came in and just electrified the league to put eyes on him and say, yo, that is a guy. Okay, now we doubted him. He has his physical his limitations or whatever, but he is still Steph Curry. The guy is like outrageously automatic. We've never seen anything like this. That's generational. That's the line in the sand. That's the difference between a Dame and a Steph. And then he has the accolades to go along with it. You have to say he's generational.
See, he's a special player, but I don't know if the team accolades is what defines you as a special player. I think maybe him breaking Reggie's record along with passing the eye test is what gets him there. But I don't know if the team accolades, like the championships, it helps. We all bunch it in. He doesn't. But even minus those, you kind of know who was still the guy. We wouldn't still talk about T-Mac and people like that if it was just about that.
Because we used to look at T-Mac and say, yo, T-Mac was ridiculously good. The guy was great.
Yeah, we still look at him and Iverson and Barkley and these guys and this with this allure for them. So it ain't just that; it is some of your individual what makes you special. But
and I think for maybe like us or Gil and being adults while we're watching it happen, I guarantee you, if you talk to any kid who grew up watching it in the same fashion that we watched Penny Hardaway in the 90s, or we watched Barkley in the 80s and 90s, we watched these guys as we were growing up and seeing it. And because the way we look at things as older gentlemen, as these guys who are playing sports and stuff, we look at it with a different lens. We don't consider certain things or herald certain things or gawk or be in awe of certain things as we progress in life. Things aren't as shocking to us as they once were. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that same awe for things. But you look at people who are growing up and they're watching, just like people say LeBron's the greatest of all time because they watched him as they were kids growing up. We watched LeBron as adults. So our outlook is a little different. So if you put Gil and you put Gil as a kid and he watches Steph Curry and throughout his career, I guarantee you his story is going to be a lot different of his outlook of Steph Curry.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. That is a very true point. You start to eye things with a different lens and under a different lens than what you would as a kid, and all factors gone. So, whereas if I were to watch Penny Hardaway as an adult, maybe I wouldn't feel how I feel today about him. But I will say this, and we can move on after this. It's my ending part of this conversation. I do think Steph is a generational athlete. I think he's special. And I think he's one of those once in a lifetime type of players, but I don't think his talent is a generational talent. I do think his skill is what got him there. I don't think it's his talent. I think he had above average talent and very, very, very high level skill. And when you combine them, you get a special athlete. And I think the same can be said for Kobe.
Okay.
That's why you get an Iverson, and he's all talent. He's not skilled. You know, I mean, he's skilled, but he's all talent. You know what I'm saying? That's what got him over the edge.
Yeah, you got to bring both of them together. But hey, I feel you. So where you at with your stick, man? EP, what we doing?
EP's been a very good experience for me, man. It's a lot of nuttiness on this stick. It's been good aroma in the air. It's been a little bit of some sweetness I picked up on that I can't exactly define what to attribute it to, and some earthiness in this stick. I say it's got a nice medium body feel to it also. But it's been good, man. Been real good. I enjoy it. Smooth stick.
Okay. Well, me so far, I'm gonna say my stick has a lack of flavor right now. We're gonna see where it plays out. You know, just easy tobacco, slight dark chocolate, and maybe some almond. And you know, almond flavor to me is like a really light flavor that is just kind of subtle. That's what I'm kind of getting with this. I smelled it in the atmosphere off the first light, and I kind of get that almond undertone, which is just kind of like it's nice, it's cool, but it's just not a lot of pop to it. So that's where I'm at with this EP Encore. We're gonna see where it goes. That's my burn so far. That's where we at. First third almost done. Let's keep rolling.
Okay.
So hey man, I can't remember how this came up. I don't know if you brought it to me or if I brought it to you, or was it a combination of both? But oh yeah, this is what happened. I sent you a clip of some technology, and I think it was our tech. I think it was some U.S. technology, and the technology was pretty cool. But then I think you came up with the idea of, I'm pretty sure the other countries have the same technology already in play, and we got this prototype of something that we have concepts. Like we have a bunch of concepts, not a lot of stuff in play that other countries probably already had in play 10 years ago, and we're still pushing out concepts. Like, oh, this is a cool concept. It'd be nice if we had this, because we us in the United States, we're here, and we're in major cities, and we don't see some of these concepts in these major cities that we've been in and that we're currently in. But we can almost guarantee, based on what we see, or we can speculate. We'll say we can speculate that other countries have these technologies already in play and already building on things to become even greater in the very near future, when we're still working on just getting stuff off the ground. So it begs the question, are we more primitive in the United States of America than we're led to believe, that we know, consider what other countries are probably doing right now?
I think we are. And I'm just now realizing it at this age. Like I'm realizing it in 2024. It took a while. If you'd have talked to me pre-social media, I'd have just been like, we live in the greatest country in the world, and I wouldn't want to go live in none of these other places. I would just want to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. You would assume that you're going to go downgrade anywhere else you go. Creme de la creme, baby. We on top. That's what you think. American pride. My country, tis of thee. You know, all of that.
Sing the songs, pledge allegiance, all of that good stuff.
All that good stuff, right? And then you start seeing on social media all this technology, this not concepts. It's just a part of their everyday life. They just living like this. People just filming they vlogging their life, and they're just doing all kind of stuff you don't see. And like you make mention of, we live in big markets in America. When we in vacation, markets. I don't travel to nobody places. I don't see none of this stuff nowhere. The Asian part of the world, they are doing some serious stuff over there. Like, you know, and you just start wondering to yourself, are we behind? They tell us we're not. They tell us these other countries are dangerous.
And they spook us too. You don't want to go to this place. America, keep all the money here, stay here. They ain't got nothing on us. So that's what they used to say back. And I remember coming up, like, you don't want to go nowhere else. America got like in the 90s, 96, early 2000s. You don't go nowhere else. We got it all here. But I was living in another country in the 90s.
Yeah. You did. You live in one of those countries that look like they killing stuff right now. Like whenever I see them.
So I lived in Japan for almost half of the 90s. Almost half of the 90s. And I remember coming back to the States late 90s. And I'm seeing stuff roll out. I'm like, oh, y'all just getting this? I remember the first cell phone I saw was probably about that big. They were these miniature cell phones. Like you hold them to your ear, they're about this big. Not flip open all this stuff, just like how the well, I think some of them were flip. Some of them were flip, but it was like a smaller Nokia, and it had all the bells and whistles on it for back then. And I'm like, this was like maybe like 95, 96, 97. And get back to the United States, and not until 3, 4, 5 years later, I'm starting to see things. Certain things that we used to have in our arcades and the simulation rides that we used to have that were pretty cool. And I saw them rolling out in the malls in 2003. Like, just getting this. I remember we used to go out over to Eagle, and we used to play this game over here back in 1995. Or we used to go to Sane, and hopefully, if anybody knows from who lived in Japan, stuff I'm throwing out, and the amenities and the amusement parks that we had over there was just crazy. And we get back to the States, they ain't got none of this. And then 5 years, 6 years later, they start rolling out. You start seeing it. It's like, okay, it's a little behind, ain't we? Ain't we a little behind over here?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're behind, man. I think we're behind. I see people that move from America and then post about how much better they're living now that they've moved and show all the stuff they can do there. And they like, don't believe it. Don't believe what they're telling you. It's good in these countries. Life is good. They're not racist over here. They treat you well. Like, we got all these things. We get more of our time and we get more for our money over here. And it's just like, no wonder they want to get rid of social media and your TikToks and places like that.
They don't want you to see it.
You don't need to see it. No, stay here. Give us tax money. I mean, stay here and do like.
And that's the thing. Like. They could tell us that before social media was so wide, so vast, and we can experience other places with just a click of our phones, and we get that exposure. It took months for information to come back from other countries once somebody visited or wrote a letter back or finally got a calling card to call back and let you, hey, look, this is what we got. I remember the first automatic toilets I seen was in Japan in the mid 90s. When did you see automatic flushes come out here? Toilets was flushing automatically in the early 90s. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Automatic flush was in the 90s, 1993. Right. Automatic flush at the airport. I'm like, what is this? Get off the plane, go to the bathroom. Like, why is it, for one, the toilet's on the ground, but that automatic flush though. Like, how I flush this thing? Oh, hold up, wait, that was in '93. Yeah, just step away. It's gonna flush. You got it. Oh shoot. Oh, okay.
And I made this comment to you. America had a huge head start, especially on the Japan. We ruined that place.
Well, yeah,
and then they still come back in ahead of us in terms of technology.
Dubai is a new country,
brand spanking new. They just took the tags off of Dubai last week. You know what I'm saying?
Still got that new cosmetic.
Yeah,
and they got technology that's way beyond us.
It's
architecture.
Really, the architecture, beautiful. It feels like we're being conned. You know what I'm saying? It feels like a con, and we got the money to do it. We just choose not to do it. Yeah, we got the money. Like that's the worst part about it. We got the money, the know-how, and all of that. But instead, it's like I feel like America wants to keep the good technology for behind the scenes in case we got to bust somebody behind with it. Like, so we just won't roll it out to us, like, and let us live good. Nah. The technology in those toilets, we can't use that yet because we're using it on some weaponry instead. So we'll get that out to you in another 10 years once we upgrade it.
Wait on that. Yeah. After that becomes old technology, then y'all will get it. Well, once we don't need that no more, we're gonna do something else, and we'll give y'all that technology to put in your toilets. You good?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think
it's amazing. It's amazing to see, like, just how far behind we really are, and we're led to believe.
You know what else I've heard about us being behind? And think about this: there are countries that are taking steps towards really taking care of their citizens and stuff like that, where they do stuff. And I'm not talking like socialism or nothing like that, which it may end up starting to feel like that, but I'm just saying they're doing stuff to really look out for their people, to make sure that they're taken care of and they're not just on the streets and all this stuff. The streets are clean. Homelessness, hungry, and healthcare and things of this nature. And I mean, because you think about it, here in America, tax is on loop. It's a loop, constant loop. You're taxed on your income, you're taxed on your sales, you're taxed on your purchases, you're taxed before it comes out of your check, you're taxed on anything. There's not a dollar that goes by, and it kind of feels like, well, if you tax me on my income, why are you taxing me on my purchases? One or the other,
It's got to be one or the other.
So is it that big of a deal to give us some health care with it? Is it that big of a deal? I hear it's not. I hear it only costs, what, 2-3 billion to end homelessness in America or hunger in America. They won't do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
only there's several people with multiple billions, and that's all it takes to just to end hunger. You mean to tell me that you can't bring those resources together to make sure that we don't have hunger in this country? I mean, in the world, period. Honestly, nobody should ever go hungry. In healthcare, we talked about healthcare. I remember hearing about healthcare in Canada decades ago and how their healthcare is good to go for their citizens. Mm-hmm. But you mean to tell me that we got infrastructure to get it done? That baffles me. That baffles me. Like, as far as just the fact that, one, it shouldn't cost that money to feed people, right? Mm-hmm. For one, we already know that manufacturing of goods like food doesn't really cost that much. It really doesn't cost that much. Like, we're making they're making premium dollar on the sale of food. Restaurants and all these things, they're making premium. For one, it's free to grow food. Not necessarily. I mean, because like you still have to have farming and cultivation and all this stuff in order to mass produce a lot of these things. But the fact that the world can produce food on its own, like,
God said, it's just right here, man. Go grab something off a tree, man. Go off a tree, dig in the ground. I put stuff everywhere for y'all. Go eat. Like, and somebody had the bright idea. I'm gonna control that. I'm gonna control what was put here for y'all. Like, and then I'm gonna give it back to you in exchange for some money.
But then also give it back to you in a worse condition.
I'm gonna tamper all in it.
Not all bottled water
kill you. Yeah, I'm gonna make it deadly where it's gonna kill you, and then I'm gonna sell it back to you.
But see, that's the crazy thing, though. Talk about healthcare. So now, if I take your food from you, process it, give it back to you, charge you for it, you get sick off of it or get cancer off of it. Now you got to go to the hospital, and now you got to go pay this doctor bill because you got free healthcare. It's all a ploy. That don't make sense.
And then you hear that the FDA ain't even really regulating it like that to the point where they're taking care of us, because other countries don't even allow half the stuff we get to eat. They just put it on our shelves and feed us and send us back to the hospital to go pay this health care and pay this insurance. And it's just a big loop. We all sitting around gaining weight and getting fat and getting unhealthy, eating this stuff that other countries wouldn't dare feed their people.
Wouldn't dare feed, Are you feeding that to your babies? You giving your kids that?
Get that stuff off the shelf, man. It's got blah, blah, blah in it. You ain't supposed to be eating that stuff.
You meanwhile here, it got blah, blah, blah. It's delicious. You know what blah, blah, blah is.
Right. You can't even pronounce it.
But we still partake. Knowing what the outcome is, knowing the fact that they're charging us way too much for. You go to the grocery store. We talked about it before. These fast food restaurants, they're charging us way too much, and it ain't no good for us. And then we've got homelessness. And I remember, man, when I was in DC, I had this homeless guy come and ask me, I don't know if he was homeless. I would guess that he was homeless, but he was definitely hungry.
He had
He's one of
homeless
the
vibes.
Yeah, he had homeless vibes, and he asked me to go buy him a hamburger at this one restaurant I was at, coming out of, and I went right back in to go buy him a hamburger. I'm like, why is somebody begging me for food to buy them some food? Like, if I was, and this is all, I guess, hypothetical. If I was homeless, we don't know how I'd be if I was homeless, on the street right now. But my game plan would be this: let me get a couple dollars real quick to go find this pot of area and put something in the ground and let me grow my food. I'll never be hungry. I can go get some seed. I can figure out how to grow this real quick, and I'll never need to buy food ever again. If I'm homeless and hungry, I can just make it. I can just make it grow. Just make it grow. And we can feed all these homeless people just off of gardens alone.
Yeah, why are there no homeless gardens?
Should be some. Yeah, exactly. Communities should come together, build gardens for the homeless, for the hungry.
Just put them
community gardens,
lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers. Just have a whole salad field for them and just let them go. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, granted, you might not have the facilities to cook it in like you want to, or throw all the paprika and Lowry's on it like you need, like you know what I'm saying. But at least you won't be hungry. At least you can eat it that God intended it for you to eat it.
Yeah, you don't get no meat, you know what I'm saying, because you can't season it, can't cook it. But we're gonna get you. You're gonna have unlimited salads around here. You do what you want. You get creative with it. Figure it out.
Fruits and vegetables. So at least you ain't going to bed hungry every night. You ain't gonna wake up hungry. You have at least that. You at least have your essentials. And I've been a vegetarian for almost 2 years now, and I ain't been eating meat. Surviving. It's been rough. I'm surviving.
It can't be no rougher than them not having the salad though. Like, at least you got your vegetables. Like, I don't know, man. It's just people don't care.
That's world hunger shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. Because you got to think about this.
We can't get past that.
Got on. We're way too advanced for one, but you got to think before all these institutions of how we deal food and goods and things like that, before it became an infrastructure the way it is, thousands of years ago, we didn't have that. But how did we get food? We hunted and we gathered. We grew it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we survived. We made it to the year 2024 without McDonald's, without HEB, without Publix, without Winn-Dixie, without Piggly Wiggly. You know what I'm saying? We've done it. So why is it so hard to kind of go back to that? I get it. It's gonna kill funds and money, but at least for the homeless people, what would it cost and what would it gain? What would be, you know what I'm saying, the reason to not make sure that they have that? Or if you were homeless, create that. Survival instincts. We were born with that innately thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
How hard is it?
I mean, we're spending all this money figuring out how to mass produce more food, but it's not with the thought process of actually helping people. It's for the thought process of keeping this economy going. You know what I'm saying? Keeping this money being spent, keeping this money train where it's at, because we don't need it to slow down. So now they're finding ways to do this stuff not to benefit anybody. And I just don't understand why we're taking trips to Mars, but we still got people hungry here on Earth. It just don't add up. Like,
it ain't adding up. It ain't adding up.
And that's for those of us who believe there is a Mars, because some of y'all fools don't think, space is real. But
that's a whole nother story right there. Get into that for another hour.
Right.
The whole Terrence Howard joining all this space stuff. I've been deep in the weeds with that, especially since we had a Terrence Howard conversation. I've just been going deeper and deeper.
Before we move on, people buying into it.
Yes,
I haven't been following it.
That's the crazy thing. It's almost split. Like, you'll see some people like, yo, this dude is out of his mind, but then you'll be like, yo, this is crazy legit. Y'all just don't understand what he's talking about. Like, I already don't understand what he's talking about. It don't make sense.
I'm sure he's got some of his arguments that probably, you know, make sense, but it's on such a simple level because he's trying to break it down in a more simplistic way. But
at the
I
basis of
don't
it,
believe
probably
that
has
space is that simple. Like, you know, I just don't believe God made it as simple as is how he's trying to break it down. It's supposed to be complicated.
We'd be able to understand it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But anyway, where you at, man? Let's do this. Let's do this review. Final review.
Okay. I'll kick it off. I got the EP Carillo, the short run. Took my other little band off, but there you go. The short run, 2023. And this is where I'm at within my stick so far. You know what I mean? Right now, my burn ain't looking terrible, but it has had some bad points throughout it. It has gone out on me several times. I've had to start back up. So these are all knocks, I'm going to say, right off the bat to construction. Draw hasn't been bad, though. So thumbs up for that. With that being said, though, my tasting notes that I've been picking up on this particular stick, I have, like I said in the beginning, a lot of nuttiness is what I'm picking up on. And it's been some good earthy tones within here, some good tobacco notes within here, and a little bit of spice. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of spice. Maybe a cinnamon type spice, you know, but I can't narrow it down to what it is. Good aroma off this stick also. Has been a pleasurable stick. My only knock against it is probably going to have to go with the construction because it just hasn't been able to stay up. Just stay going. Pause. So I have to keep relighting it, and I don't like doing that personally. You know what I'm saying? I like to be able to sit mine down, come back to it in the middle of the conversation and still going. So because of that, it's going to hurt the score because I would have been willing to get this a little bit higher than what I am going to give it. But I still enjoyed it, so it will reach the coveted 4 even, 1 to 5, short run by EP Carillo.
Okay, short run. So we'll let you know that you gave your cigar's higher score than I'm going to give mine. Off gate. I'm going to let you know that. So here's what I did like about the stick. The aroma from start to finish, from the first puff, set the vibe off just right. That nice toasted almond aroma that I got, kind of an undertone throughout the smoke, which was cool. Nothing about the cigar that I completely hated, but it left a lot to be desired. So the oiliness was in realm, kind of that Davidoff level that I've had when I had the what's it called? The Royal, right? Jeez, the big one. I can't remember the name of it. My mind just went blank. But that expensive one. Yeah. It had that nice oiliness somewhere in that range. So the oiliness was just right. Good to boot. But then off the flavors just left a lot to be desired. Like I said, that toasted almond was there consistently, but that's a light flavor. It doesn't give too much. Just give something nice. So if you want something nice and just cool, it's gonna give you that. A little bit of dark chocolate, very subtle. All these flavors are very subtle. The earthiness, the woodiness, very subtle. So everything was kind of dialed down too much for me. I would have liked to see something pop out a little bit more, whether it was spice, whether it was some licorice, give me something exciting. So I think I was looking at this Encore, this black, as something that was going to be exciting, but it didn't give me that excitement that I was looking for. Now, if you want to have a cigar that you just have in the background, you're just smoking and you just, you know what I'm saying, relaxing, you just want to have something to smoke and you're not looking for anything with pop, this would be cool for you. It'll be cool for you. But if you're looking for something that's going to pop, give you some flavors, it's going to sit you down, maybe give you a roller coaster ride of sort, it's going to be a big miss for you. So that's where this Encore missed with me. So with it being a nice cigar, creating a nice atmosphere, I'm going to give it a 3.5 just based off of that because it's a good cigar to smoke just for a cool stick. But as far as looking to give you something of some kind of substance, it missed a lot. So it's not even going to get close to that 4. So 3.5 for a good smoke, for a decent stick, but 3.5 because it just didn't give me enough. I didn't hate it, but it was nothing that made me say wow, other than the aroma.
1.5, 3.5. That's not bad. That's pretty good, above average. Let me ask you this: is it a good cigar for a novice smoker?
It is. It actually is. So if for a novice smoker and you're trying to figure out what you like I said, like all the flavors were really toned down. So they were in there, but very, very toned down. So if you haven't figured out what your palate is, this would be perfect for you figuring out your palate. Matter of fact, I'll give it that. I'll give it that kind of nod to say, hey, if you're trying to figure out your palate, you don't know what you like, but you want some good tobacco flavor, and you want to try to grow your palate, this is a good starter. It's a good starter.
Okay. Cool. Hey, there you have it. This episode is episode 96, dedicated to the year 96. 96, baby. Hey, we out of here, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Scars and Everything Else podcast.